Welcome everyone to another fun stencil project. Today we have a beautiful stenciled cutting board project and it's done with chalkboard paint so we can write on it. How wonderful would that be to write on a special menu for a special event and all of your guests can see it. It's a beautiful rustic kitchen centerpiece that's sure to catch everyone's eye. So let's jump right in. What we're going to need for this project are just a few basic stencil things. As always, we have our foam roller, our blue painter's tape. Today I'm using a paper plate just because our project is pretty quick and I didn't want to dirty up my regular painting palette. Next up we have our chalkboard paint, our stencil brushes, and I'm taking this beautiful damask stencil and I just happened to find a beautiful match for it. It's a round circle that you could find at any type of school supply store. So we're going to turn this into art. And we'll also need a straight edge ruler. Okay guys, let's get started. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my ruler and find the center of our cutting board. And since mine is round, it's going to be a little bit more tricky, but we'll get there. So my cutting board is almost a perfect 12 by 12 diameter. So I'm just going to find the center of my cutting board, which is half of 12, by the way. There we have it, that's our center. Next up I'm going to do something kind of different than we normally do. You see, I want it to be kind of a statement piece when people enter my house and my kitchen and see it there. So I'm going to add, this circle should be perfect. This circle right here is almost perfect for what I'm planning on doing. And you know, this stencil is actually from, something that you could use in school. Maybe your kids have some around the house for math class. And I'm going to use it for actually stenciling on this beautiful cutting board. You guys can see that we can turn regular stencils into something beautiful so easily. Next up, I'm just going to line up this beautiful kind of damask-like design around my miniature circle. And it's going to really make it a very statement piece. Just to make sure that I have it correctly centered, I'm just going to outline this with my pencil. And I can make adjustments as needed. So I'm just taking the ends here of my stencil, and it also helped me line it up too. Great, that looks just about right. Now that we have each part lined up, I'm going to go ahead and find our circle stencil once again. Line him up how we got him planned out. I'm just going to tape him down. I hope this project inspires you to look outside the craft aisle when looking for stencils. You can really make stencils out of anything. As you guys can see, I am using some stencils that could be used for a math class or some kind of school project. Now we're going to take our always handy dandy chalkboard paint. And load that up with our foam roller. Now I'm only using half of it because we only need this much for what I'm stenciling. If you have a bigger design, of course you would use the whole foam roller. Now you may be asking yourself, why am I using a foam roller? You could definitely use a stencil brush. Well, I want this to be very even, so when I write on it, it's going to have no bumps. And the foam roller is probably the best way to get that look. So before I remove my stencil, I'm going to make sure that this first top coat has dried, and then I will do another top coat just to make sure that we have enough chalkboard paint on this little guy. Welcome back, guys. So I already put on a second coat because I know you guys already know how to do this with the chalkboard paint. So I'm just going to take it off. It looks fabulous. Next up, we're going to line up our beautiful delicate stencil right over it. This is why we had to wait for the original circle to dry, because we're putting stencil over stencil. Once I have it centered, I'm going to go ahead and just tape it down. Now I'm actually going to switch to our stencil brush because this part we're not really going to be using any type of chalkboard on it unless you want to outline it and make it a design, but we're not really going to need it to be super even since we're not going to put lettering on it. We're just going to fill it in like we always do, using minimal paint. Bracing your stencil as we go. I came up with this idea because there's so many beautiful cutting board art out there with stencils and, like acrylic paint. And as beautiful it was, I just didn't see, besides it being beautiful to look at, I wanted something a little bit more functional. So because we are using chalkboard paint, we can write on it and make a little menu. If it's for a dinner party, this is a perfect way to display your menu to your guests. Or if you're celebrating someone's birthday or even like a baby shower, you could always write a little hello to the special someone out there. Because I don't know about you, but whenever I have parties, people are always in the kitchen. I just love this idea of mixing stencils together that didn't come together. It really adds a different dimension, and it makes you look like you really designed the stencil all by yourself. This project proves that less is more. I've actually only loaded my brush up once throughout this whole process, and look how far we were able to get. Okay, so I made my first pass at this. I'm going to let it dry up just a little bit, and then I'll be able to fill in any gaps or anything that I may have seen. It's going to be a better indicator of what I need to work on once I let it dry. So it's been a few minutes, and my chalk is completely dried. So let's just do the big reveal. Fabulous. This looks so charming and inviting for any guest that's going to enter your kitchen. It's sure to get A+ from all of your guests. That about wraps it up for this fun stencil tutorial, and I'll see you guys for our last, sadly, our very last stencil project coming up next. We're going to have a lot of fun today, and we're going to show you how to stencil on furniture. Look at these beautiful cabinets. They're so bright and inviting. I can't wait to get started and show you how we did it.